So guess what? Back in the day, we had weddings in shops. Yes, we had weddings in shops. Stay tuned for this. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sosa Food, and this is where I talk about childhood memories, specifically my childhood memories. Memories as they were back in the 60s, early 60s when I was born, going into the 70s and maybe touching the 80s a little bit, right? So if you're happening on this channel for the first time, welcome. We have a lot to talk about. Stay tuned, all right? Don't forget to subscribe if you like the content. Don't forget to hit the like button if you like this specific topic, all right? All right, so today I want to talk about a thing used to happen back in the day when I was growing up. Yeah, so like I said, I grew up in rural Jamaica. I was born in rural Jamaica. So it was not uncommon in the 70s, especially the 70s, for the island to suffer from food shortages. And when I say food shortages, I really mean the kind of foods that were imported into the island, right? Because for the most part, Jamaicans we eat from the soil. What I mean is that we eat a lot of produce. So, back when I was a kid, it was a lot of, we eat a lot of tubers. So we eat a lot of yams, yellow yam, white yam, tar yam, Barbie yam, St. Vincent or St. Vincent as we call it. Yeah, a whole lot of tubers. We eat sweet potato, sweet cassava. We ate from the soil, right? A lot of green banana, breadfruit. Yes, so a lot of the stuff that the local people would eat are stuff that they would farm themselves. But in addition to that, you would have the stuff that you'd buy at the supermarket or at the shops. Cause back then, we just went to the shop. So you'd have your rice, your cornmeal, the sugar, flour, and especially flour, because if you cook a pot, if you made a meal and made dinner, right, and you had yam in the pot, you have banana, you have cocoa, and there was no dumpling in the pot, it's as if something was wrong with your food. Right? So, but like I said though, it was not uncommon, back in those days, for Jamaica to have these kind of food shortages where there's, you go to the shop, there's no flour. Flour is in short supply. You go to the shop, cornmeal, maybe in short supply. You go to the shop, rice, maybe in short supply, and of course the prices went up because the demand is there and the supply is not. But some of these shortages, looking back, were kind of man-made to a certain extent. What I mean is that I knew the country, back then, especially in the 70s, went through tough economic times, tough economic times. But I can recall a government, a head of government back then. And each government that comes into power, they have their own ideology, their own philosophy of how the country should run, right? How the country should run. And part of his mantra the Prime Minister at that time, was that we should rely on ourselves to survive. That was something he campaigned on a lot. And nothing is wrong with that. I think most countries should be self-sufficient. Most countries should strive to be self-sufficient, right? I think somewhere like India is one of the most self-sufficient country in the world because they have everything. But back to the topic. So his mantra, that head of state or that head of government at the time, was that we should rely on ourselves to survive. And he coined the phrase roots. Rely on ourselves to survive. Yeah, so that was his roots, was his mantra. And because that was his philosophy, he did not believe in the importation of a lot of stuff that were coming into the country. A lot of these staple stuff. He thinks that, or he thought that Jamaicans in general should eat what they produced. But, as Jamaicans, we love our dumpling. We love our dumplings. We need a little cornmeal now and then to make some ton cornmeal, or make some cornmeal porridge, or a cornmeal pudding, right? Jamaica, back then, those were staple stuff back in the day, right? We need, even though, we never love rice to that extent, but maybe on a Sunday, Jamaicans love to have them, some rice and peas, right? So you'd go to the shop during that era or that period of time, and no flour, no sugar. Sugar wasn't too bad, but even that was in short supply, even though it was produced in Jamaica. No rice. And so what happened, what some of the shopkeepers did, when these things are in short supply, and they're able to go to the wholesale, and they get maybe a bag of rice. Normally they would have probably buy 300-pound bag of rice, but because the rice is in short supply, they might have only gotten a half a bag, just 50 pounds, or they might have just got maybe they would have purchased maybe a bag of cornmeal, or 2 bags. They were only able to get 1, and so on and so forth. So because the demand was great and the food was in short supply, what some of these unscrupulous, should I use the word unscrupulous, or maybe it was the norm? Anyway, what some of these shopkeepers would do, they would marry. That was the term that was used then. They would marry an item in the shop that was not selling well. Okay, say you go to the shop to buy 2 pounds of flour. They would say to you, in order for you to get the 2 pounds of flour, or the 1 pound of flour, or the 2 pounds of cornmeal, or you get what I'm trying to say. In order for you to get this 2 pounds of rice, you'll have to buy half pound of salt. What? You already have salt at home. In order for you to get this 2 pound of rice, you might have to buy whatever they had in the shop that was not selling very well. They would marry that item to the staple stuff that people were wanted to buy, like the flour, the cornmeal, the rice, and whatever, the codfish and whatever. They would marry the slow selling items in the shop to these items that are in demand, and you could not buy one without buying the other. That was how things were, how things happened, back then in Jamaica when we had these food shortages, right? So, you go to the shop, you pick a nice breadfruit, you roast the breadfruit, that is something I'm going to talk about, roast breadfruit. Or you cook a pot of breadfruit with, a couple pieces of yam. That's the plan for dinner, all right? And you want a pound of flour to add some dumpling and maybe a quarter pound of saltfish. That's what you could afford, a quarter pound of codfish. And you go to my grandmother would send me to the shop to buy, a pound of flour and a quarter pound of saltfish to help make up, the menu for dinner. And the shopkeeper would say to me, well, you can only get this pound of flour and this quarter pound of saltfish if you buy 1 carbolic soap. And even that was in short supply sometime. Even soap to bathe, I can recall as a kid, was in short supply sometimes. But you get what I'm saying. In order for you to get some of the items these staple items that people wanted to use, especially in the kitchen, they would have to buy stuff. The shopkeeper would marry the slow selling items in the shop, items that are not doing well, to the item that you want to buy, and you would have to buy that item in order to get what you want, right? So the term that was coined then was that so and so, this shopkeeper is marrying food. You get it? So, what were some of your memories? Have you experienced that? I'm not sure where you're watching this video from, but have you ever experienced anything like that? Looking back, that was such a stressful time for people. Such a stressful time for people. Tell me about it. What were some of your experiences? If you're from Jamaica, growing up in that time, do you remember those, that scenario? Maybe you're not from Jamaica. Maybe you're watching from another part of the world. Tell me about it. Have you had, any similar experiences where, like I just described? Have you encountered, food shortages in your country? Is it a common occurrence where you are from? How do you deal with it? How do you handle it? Tell me about it. Leave some comments in the comments section below and tell me about it. And if you like this video, specifically this topic, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, right? And if you like the channel and the topics we talk about on this channel, don't forget to subscribe. Okay? So again, my name is Source of Food. Until we meet again, take care of yourself and stay safe. All right? Bye.